15 years of marriage, and I still smiled every morning when I saw Bradley fast asleep beside me. Our mansion in Beverly Hills represented everything we had achieved together. I, Victoria Thompson, wife of the most promising entrepreneur on the West Coast, was living the American dream that so many envied. My wardrobe was like a runway of the most exclusive brands, each piece carefully picked for charity events and corporate dinners that filled our social calendar. Victoria always impresses us with her impeccable style. The wives of Bradley's partners would comment during our traditional Sunday brunch. William, my father-in-law, always introduced me as the most precious gem his son ever found. Madison, my sister-in-law, documented our perfect life on her Instagram that had millions of followers. Photos of our infinity pool or the family yacht sparked waves of envious comments. The Thompsons are California's golden family, a local high society magazine once declared. Bradley expanded his business empire while I managed our social life and the family's charitable work. Everything seemed to fall into place perfectly, like the pieces of the Swiss watch Bradley gave me on our 10th anniversary. Subscribe to the channel and leave a like for more stories like this. The divorce process started with an email. Victoria, we need to talk about the future of our relationship. It was cold and direct, sent from Bradley's office while I was organizing his surprise birthday party. When I got home, the security guards wouldn't let me in. Orders from Mr. Thompson, they said, not even meeting my eyes. 3 days later, I was hit with divorce papers accusing me of infidelity with 5 different men. Names ranged from bartenders and yoga instructors to the gardener who showed up at our house every month. The so-called evidence: manipulated photos, bought testimonies, fabricated messages. Your client destroyed my client's trust and dignity, Bradley's lawyer proclaimed in a packed courtroom. My protests of innocence fell on deaf ears when Madison posted evidence of my affairs on her social media. Sitting in the front row, William watched impassively as my reputation was shredded. The judge granted everything to Bradley: the house, the cars, even the jewels I had inherited from my late mother. I left the courtroom with only the clothes on my back, $200 in my purse, and a restraining order forbidding me from contacting any member of the Thompson family. That one-bedroom apartment in the industrial district looked tiny compared to our mansion. The thin walls let in the noise of the neighbors and the 5 a.m. train. My new wardrobe: 3 basic tops, 2 jeans, and a blazer bought on clearance. Jessica offered me her couch, but I declined. I need to learn to stand on my own, I replied while searching for a job on my used laptop. After dozens of failed interviews, the Thompson scandal had stained my name, I finally landed a position as a saleswoman at a department store. It's not the life I imagined, I confessed to Jessica over our cheap Sunday coffee. But there's something liberating about not having to be perfect all the time. On lonely nights, I went back to drawing, an old passion I'd abandoned years ago. I began sketching clothes using recycled materials. My first design was born from a discarded curtain I found in the alley behind my building. I transformed it into an elegant dress that I wore to a job interview. That's amazing, the recruiter commented, clearly impressed. Little by little, my small apartment turned into an impromptu studio. Scraps of fabric, old buttons, and revamped accessories covered every surface. I started going to charity bazaars, hunting for discarded pieces, and studying sustainable upcycling techniques. "Did you make this?" asked Nathan, a fashion consultant, pointing at my blazer made from old ties. We bumped into each other at the coffee shop, where I scrimped just to buy a cup a week. It's fascinating how you turn something thrown away into haute couture. Nathan invited me to present my designs to a group of investors interested in sustainable fashion. "The market is thirsty for authenticity," he explained while examining my sketches scattered over an improvised coffee table. I spent nights preparing my presentation. Using materials rescued from Fabric Studio dumpsters, I created 5 pieces that embodied my vision: conscious elegance and responsible luxury. On the day of the presentation, I recognized Sarah, the editor of the country's most influential fashion magazine, among the investors. "Tell us your story, Victoria," she asked, After scrutinizing my creations, I took a deep breath and shared my downfall and rebirth, without mentioning the painful details of the divorce. Eco-Elegance, I announced, revealing the name I had chosen for my line, because I believe we can be sophisticated without sacrificing our planet or our values. By the end of the presentation, 3 investors offered financing. Sarah promised an exclusive article on my budding brand, and Nathan became my business partner. For the first time in months, I allowed myself to smile with genuine hope. The small studio in the Arts District marked the official beginning of Eco-Elegance. I hired 2 experienced seamstresses who had lost their jobs when factories closed. Together, we created our first collection using materials that the traditional industry discarded. We want every piece to tell a story of transformation, I explained at our first team meeting. We developed techniques to turn ocean plastic into luxurious fabrics, create natural dyes from food waste, and give new life to abandoned garments. Eco-Elegance's social media profile grew organically. We shared the creative process, the story behind each piece, and the faces of the artisans who brought my designs to life. No filters, no manipulations, just authenticity. Our debut at an independent fashion fair attracted buyers from exclusive boutiques. "The transparency of your supply chain is impressive," commented a buyer from New York who ordered our entire line of recycled blazers. Jessica, now my press coordinator, managed to have an environmental activist actress wear one of our dresses at a major event. The photo went viral, sparking a debate about conscious consumption in fashion. International orders began to roll in, forcing us to expand our small team. While Eco-Elegance flourished, I kept my distance from news about the Thompsons. My focus was building something meaningful, not looking back. Every small victory, our first international sale, our first fashion editorial, recognition from industry leaders, confirmed that I had found my true purpose. 2 years had passed since that first investor presentation, and Eco-Elegance no longer fit into our tiny Arts District studio. We moved into a renovated old warehouse and transformed it into a space that reflected our philosophy: beauty in imperfection, value in what was once discarded, elegance in simplicity. Our team grew to 25 talented artisans, many of whom came from vulnerable communities or had been let go by the traditional fashion industry. We built a business model where everyone shared in the profits and creative decisions. "We've built something bigger than just a brand," I remarked during our quarterly meeting. "We've built a community." The invitation to Milan's Sustainable Fashion Week arrived on a rainy afternoon. Sarah, the editor who had believed in me from the start, delivered it personally. "You're not just a promising designer anymore, Victoria. You've become a voice the industry needs to hear." Our presentation in Milan exceeded all expectations. Models of different ages, ethnicities, and body types walked the runway wearing creations made entirely from recycled materials. The final dress, a breathtaking piece crafted from fishing nets recovered from the ocean, brought tears to the front row. "Eco-Elegance redefines luxury for the new generation," wrote Europe's most respected fashion critic. I woke up the next morning to hundreds of emails from international buyers and collaboration offers from established brands. Major fashion magazines began featuring our work. One even dedicated its cover to a photo shoot of our most emblematic pieces. "Victoria's Silent Revolution," the headline announced. The article detailed my journey of transformation without mentioning the divorce scandal, a deliberate editorial choice for which I was deeply grateful. The international expansion happened naturally. We opened outlets in London, Tokyo, and Sao Paulo. Each store adhered to the same principles: repurposed spaces, decor made from recycled materials, and displays crafted by local artisans. "We aren't just selling clothes," I explained in an interview for a documentary on sustainable fashion. "We're offering an alternative to the destructive cycle of consumption." While Eco-Elegance thrived, the Thompson fortune began to crumble. I didn't follow the news about my ex-husband and his family closely, but Jessica kept me updated on the major developments. Bradley's company was under investigation for unethical business practices. His shares plummeted after fraud allegations emerged. Madison, who had built her influencer career on family drama, lost followers and sponsors when leaked documents revealed she had digitally manipulated the evidence of my supposed infidelity. Her makeup empire, launched with fanfare after my divorce, quietly went bankrupt. William Thompson, the patriarch who had remained impassive as my reputation was destroyed, was dealing with his own health and financial issues. The mansion where we'd spent so many Christmases was discreetly put on the market. I didn't feel joy at these news. I only felt a strange sense that the universe was rebalancing itself. My focus remained on expanding eco-elegance's positive impact, not on celebrating the downfall of those who hurt me. Our Renacimento collection celebrated the brand's 3rd anniversary with a charity fashion show that raised funds for cleaning the oceans. We partnered with design universities to develop new sustainable materials and even launched an affordable line that democratized access to conscious fashion. "You've become a symbol of resilience," Nathan commented during a celebratory dinner after we won the Sustainable Innovation Award of the Year. "It's incredible how you transformed personal tragedy into a movement that inspires thousands." That night, as I gazed out over the city from the restaurant's terrace, I realized just how far I had come from the days in that tiny apartment. Success didn't erase the scars, but it had given new meaning to my story. The email from Bradley arrived without any warning, disrupting my morning routine of reviewing designs. "We need to talk about a possible collaboration. Thompson Enterprises is launching a sustainable fashion division." My body reacted before my mind could catch up. Trembling hands, shallow breaths, that familiar feeling of vulnerability. Jessica found me frozen in front of the computer screen. "He's desperate," she concluded after reading the message. "The investigations are closing in on him, and now he's trying to use his success as a lifeline." I chose not to reply. The following week, Bradley showed up unannounced at our showroom, thinner, with deep dark circles under his eyes, and without the confident smile that once charmed every boardroom. He said, "Victoria, just 5 minutes," when our receptionist tried to stop him. "What is it that you really want, Bradley?" I asked firmly, trying to keep my voice steady despite the inner turmoil. We were in the small meeting room decorated with photographs of our artisans at work. A new beginning, a chance to fix past mistakes. His voice sounded rehearsed, like the corporate presentations I used to watch religiously in the early years of our marriage. Thompson Enterprises can offer resources that would instantly turn eco-elegance into a global powerhouse. "I turned my brand into something meaningful without your money or connections," I answered. "Why would I accept your help now?" Bradley then changed tactics, mentioning how the partnership could boost my public image, suggesting that a reconciled ending would be more powerful than our separation story. When I firmly refused, his tone shifted. "I have information about environmental violations in your supply chain in Asia." That veiled threat revealed his true intentions. He wasn't seeking collaboration but control. He wasn't offering reconciliation but blackmail. "Our meeting is over," I declared, standing up. "And for your information, we don't have suppliers in Asia. Our entire production is local, ethical, and transparent. Something you could have found out with a simple search." In the following weeks, negative articles about eco-elegance started appearing on obscure blogs, questioning our environmental integrity and labor practices. Madison revived the old accusations on her social media, trying to link my name to fabricated scandals. An alleged ex-employee gave an anonymous interview claiming exploitation at our factory. "They're desperate," Nathan concluded during our crisis meeting. "But we have something they don't: transparency and truth." We responded to the defamatory campaign by completely opening our doors. We invited journalists to visit our production facilities, interview our artisans freely, and scrutinize our bookkeeping and certifications. We published detailed reports on our supply chain and environmental impact. Meanwhile, Jessica used her contacts to probe deeper into the recent activities of Thompson Enterprises. What we discovered was disturbing. Documents indicated that Bradley had deliberately falsified evidence during our divorce. The confirmation came from an unexpected source. Bradley's former assistant, now fired during company cutbacks, reached out with undeniable proof. I was instructed to alter photographs and fabricate conversations, she revealed as she handed me a folder containing both the original and modified files. I kept backup copies as insurance, but I never thought I'd need to use them. I faced an ethical dilemma. Use this evidence to clear my name or move on without reopening old wounds. After many sleepless nights, I decided that the truth needed to come out, not for revenge, but to set a precedent against false accusations in divorce proceedings. I'm not looking for financial compensation, I explained to the lawyer I hired. I just want the truth to be known. He looked skeptical about my motives but agreed to represent me. The evidence was formally presented to the authorities. The case quickly grabbed media attention, especially given the ongoing investigations into financial fraud at Thompson Enterprises. An investigative report connected the dots, revealing a pattern of manipulation, forgery, and abuse of power. When Bradley tried to contact me again, this time with a private settlement proposal meant to hush the scandal, I declined. The truth isn't for sale, I replied simply. It never was. Headlines in the major newspapers announced Bradley Thompson's arrest on a rainy Wednesday. Charges of tax fraud, document forgery, and obstruction of justice culminated in a discreet operation that removed him from his luxurious life. The image circulating on social media, Bradley in a rumpled suit, his once imposing demeanor gone, was a stark contrast to the man who once controlled my life. I didn't watch the TV coverage of his custody hearing. Instead, I led our quarterly investors meeting, presenting plans for Eco-Elegance's expansion into educational projects for underprivileged communities. We can transform fashion into a tool for social change, I explained, showing a prototype of our incubator for sustainable talent. Public vindication came when the judge who had presided over our divorce issued a formal statement acknowledging a judicial error based on fabricated evidence. My name was officially cleared, and the original verdict was annulled. The assets that had been unjustly denied to me were set to be reappraised. How do you feel now that the truth has emerged? Sarah asked during an exclusive interview, the only one I gave on the subject. I paused, choosing my words carefully. Justice doesn't undo the trauma, but it does offer a chance to heal. I spent years fighting against false accusations, but in the end, I gained a clarity I might never have found in that comfortable, privileged life. The truth always finds its way, even if it takes time. William Thompson, weakened by health problems, requested a private meeting. I hesitated, afraid of reopening old wounds, but something in his handwritten request touched me. I agreed to meet him at a neutral cafe near the Central Park. I failed as a father and as a human being, he admitted, his once dominant voice now reduced to a tired whisper. I taught my son that power justifies any action, that appearances matter more than integrity. I raised the man who destroyed not only his life, but ultimately his own. I didn't offer him easy absolution, nor did I harbor resentment. What do you plan to do with the time you have left, William? I simply asked. His answer, a plan to use his remaining fortune to compensate victims of corporate fraud and fund ethical business education, seemed sincere. In the following months, I watched from a distance as he worked on his new mission, recognizing that even later in life, genuine transformations are possible. Madison tried a different approach. After her social media empire collapsed, she posted a video confessing her part in fabricating evidence against me. Amid tears that appeared genuine, she detailed how family pressure and the toxic Thompson dynamics led her to betray even basic decency. I'm not looking for forgiveness, she concluded in the video that went viral for reasons no one had predicted. I just wanted the truth to be known. The public, however, was unforgiving, interpreting her confession as yet another attempt to profit from family drama. When reporters asked for my reaction to Madison's video, I simply said, I hope she finds genuine peace and purpose beyond the cameras. The stark contrast between our journeys did not go unnoticed by cultural commentators. Public recognition peaked when Eco-Elegance received the prestigious Global Sustainable Innovation Award, previously awarded only to companies with decades of experience. At the internationally broadcast ceremony, I shared the stage with our oldest artisans. This recognition belongs to everyone who believed we could redefine success beyond short-term profit, I declared, while accepting the award made of recycled crystal. Real innovation is about creating systems that uplift people and regenerate resources, not just products that sell well. The contrast between my rise and the Thompsons' fall became the subject of a documentary produced by an independent studio. I declined direct participation, but allowed filming at our production center to illustrate ethical business models. The film, Resurgence, won awards at festivals and sparked discussions about justice, resilience, and redefining success. In the end, true victory wasn't found in the limelight or in accolades. It was in the quiet moments, walking through our studio, watching artisans transform discarded materials into coveted pieces, receiving letters from women inspired to start over after devastating losses, or watching the first graduates from our scholarship program launch their own sustainable brands. We've built something that transcends individuals, I remarked during our 5-year celebration. We've created a legacy that will continue long after we're gone. The idea for the Eco-Elegance Foundation came during a research trip to coastal communities affected by plastic waste. Watching local artisans turn ocean trash into crafts, I realized that our model could be replicated globally, empowering communities while addressing urgent environmental issues. We don't just want to commercialize sustainable fashion, I explained to our board during the project presentation. We want to democratize knowledge so anyone can create regenerative systems in their community. The foundation was officially born on the brand's 6th anniversary, with 3 core pillars: environmental education, empowerment for vulnerable communities, and the development of open-source, sustainable technologies. We allocated 20% of Eco-Elegance's annual profit to fund its operations. The scholarship program, which was especially close to my heart, offered comprehensive training for young talents from marginalized areas. In addition to design and production techniques, the scholars learned ethical business management, responsible marketing, and fair pricing. We're not just shaping designers, we're nurturing agents of change, I explained during the inauguration of our educational center. Our first class of 15 scholars represented an impressive geographical, ethnic, and socioeconomic diversity. Among them was Maya, a Syrian refugee who developed natural dye techniques using discarded fruit peels, and Carlos, the son of recyclable collectors who created a structured fabric from PET plastic. You're not here just to learn, I told them on our first day, but to teach me perspectives we don't have, share experiences we've never lived, and provide solutions we never imagined. The social impact quickly exceeded our expectations. In partnership with collectors' cooperatives, we developed a system that greatly increased the added value of recycled materials, turning them into high-end fashion components. The participating families saw their incomes triple in the first year. Our initiative to revitalize traditional artisanal techniques connected elderly master crafters with young apprentices, preserving ancestral knowledge while creating economic opportunities in rural communities. A documentary filmmaker recorded this generational exchange, producing a series that inspired similar programs internationally. The Foundation's international expansion followed a decentralized model. Instead of imposing standardized solutions, we provided tools, knowledge, and seed capital so communities could develop their own responses to local challenges. In Indonesia, our partnership with coastal villages resulted in an innovative system for collecting ocean plastic that now supplies major global brands. In Brazil, Amazonian riverside communities developed natural dyes from non-timber plants, creating economic alternatives to destructive logging practices. True sustainability isn't just environmental, it's social and economic, I explained at an international conference on regenerative business. We need to create systems where prosperity and preservation go hand in hand, where communities flourish as ecosystems regenerate. the Foundation's Innovation Lab became a global reference in the development of biomaterials. Our researchers collaborated with scientists and traditional artisans, combining ancestral knowledge with cutting-edge technology. The mycelium leather developed with agricultural communities using crop residue won innovation awards and was adopted by international luxury brands. Our open-source approach, sharing research, techniques, and business models freely, initially sparked skepticism in the industry. "They're giving away their competitive edge for free," warned a renowned consultant. However, this collaborative philosophy eventually attracted valuable partners who shared our vision of systemic transformation. When Emma, one of our first scholarship recipients, launched her own brand following the principles she'd learned in our program, I proudly introduced her at our annual investors meeting. "This is the true ROI of the Foundation," I announced. "We don't measure success solely by the growth of eco-elegance, but by the proliferation of ethical ventures inspired by our model." After 8 years of operation, the Eco-Elegance Foundation had empowered over 500 entrepreneurs in 23 countries, published 3 sustainability practice manuals, translated into 17 languages, and established 12 innovation centers for regenerative materials. "You built something extraordinary from adversity," Jessica observed during the inauguration of our largest educational center, set up in a renovated industrial complex. "You didn't just survive, you created an ecosystem that will continue generating positive impact for generations." That night, walking alone down the empty corridors of the new building, I thought back to the unlikely journey from the tiny apartment where I used scraps found in the trash to sketch designs. The scars remained, but they had transformed into marks of a rebuilding story that now inspired others to find strength in their own challenges. Subscribe to the channel and leave a like for more stories like this. 10 years after the day security guards wouldn't let me into my own home, I find myself on the porch of a simple cottage with an ocean view. This is my refuge, far from the limelight and the whirlwind of international fashion weeks. Here, with sketchbooks and cups of tea, I reflect on the extraordinary journey that turned personal tragedy into collective purpose. Eco-elegance is no longer just a brand. It's a global movement with branches on 4 continents. Our circular production methodology, where every waste becomes the raw material for a new creative cycle, has been adopted by universities and corporations as a model of applied sustainability. The educational programs of the Foundation have trained over 1,000 change agents who now lead initiatives in their own communities. I rarely think about the Thompsons nowadays. Bradley served part of his sentence and after early release for good behavior, moved to a small coastal town where, as I heard, he quietly works on a beach cleaning project. Madison found sobriety after a very public collapse and now runs a small craft business far away from the cameras. William, before his passing, set up an anonymous scholarship for students of business ethics. Their paths don't bring me satisfaction or resentment, only the understanding that we're all capable of transformation, whether driven by conscious choices or painful circumstances. True triumph isn't about revenge or accumulating wealth. It's about the enduring legacy. When I walk through the corridors of our talent incubator and see young designers turning adversity into beauty through mindful creativity, I witness the purest form of the purpose that emerged from the ashes of my former life. There are days when I still wake up haunted by trauma, fleeting moments when the fear of public humiliation and disgrace echoes in my mind. But those shadows quickly fade when I connect with the vibrant community we built together. Resilience isn't just about surviving trauma, I shared during my keynote at the annual Women's Leadership Conference. It's about transforming it into fuel for creating something meaningful, something that lifts others as we reconnect with our essential purpose. The publication of my book, Reconstruction: Turning Loss into Legacy, coincided with Eco-Elegance's 10th anniversary. At book signings, men and women shared stories of how my journey inspired them to rebuild their lives after divorces, bankruptcies, illnesses, and devastating losses. "Your book gave me permission to turn my pain into purpose," wrote one reader, a message I treasure above all. I realized that our greatest strength can emerge from our most vulnerable moments. I've come to understand that the true measure of a successful life isn't found in awards or recognitions, though my office wall does display a few, but in the lives touched, in the transformed systems, and in the opportunities created for those who come after us. In my talks, I often share what I call the economy of generosity, the understanding that our greatest impact comes not from what we accumulate, but from what we give back to the world. Eco-elegance and the Foundation embody this philosophy, creating value that circulates instead of concentrates, that regenerates instead of extracts. Today, as I watch the ocean, now an integral part of our mission, I feel a peace that once seemed impossible in those early, devastating days after the divorce. It's not a peace born of an absence of challenges. We still face resistance from the old guard fashion industry, regulatory hurdles, and the urgent reality of the climate crisis. It's a serenity that comes from knowing our purpose, from acting with integrity, and from being true to ourselves. The notebook on my lap holds sketches for our next big project, a global academy for regenerative design that will train the next generation of mindful creators. At 60, I have no plans to slow down, only to expand our impact and deepen our legacy. The pain that once threatened to destroy me became the very foundation upon which I built a meaningful life. The false accusations that questioned my character inspired an unwavering commitment to transparency and truth. Losing everything forced me to rediscover value outside of material possessions. Our personal stories are powerful, I often tell the Foundation's new scholars during orientation, not just because of what we've suffered, but because of what we choose to create out of that suffering. As the sun sets over the ocean horizon, I close my sketchbook and take a deep breath. Tomorrow, I'll return to the office, the meetings, the constant challenges of leading a global organization. But tonight, I allow myself simply to exist in the moment, grateful for the journey, at peace with the past, and excited about the future we continue to build together. The legacy of eco-elegance will go far beyond my own story, living on through the hands and hearts of those who share the vision of a world where beauty and purpose walk hand in hand, where adversity transforms into opportunity, and where every ending carries the seed of a new and meaningful beginning. Subscribe to the channel and leave a like for more stories like this.